Okay, here we go. We're gonna watch this Ava movie with Palm Tree here.
Yeah. So, is this your first time watching End of Ava?
Yes. Shinji constantly fucking harassing like women at the hospital.
I
Come on.
think it's gonna cross into more than harassment in a bit.
Oh, is that what this is?
Mentality Project aims to artificially evolve humanity into a perfect single life form.
Man, that sounds like you when you're fucking by yourself.
The Instrumentality Council was going to
Nah, I don't talk that coherently.
Nerve, but an Ava.
Dude, that stock sound effect, you hear that everywhere.
Actually, I don't know. I haven't heard that one specifically in a while.
Well, it's always new
The
to
ambulance
someone.
I have heard the ambulance.
Like
That's what he's listening to. Oh, look, it's the back of my computer. Do... I wonder if anything happens to the people in this room. Good lord, I can't look at that. Can't look at that
It
either.
bothers you?
I mean, I just don't want to take a chance.
Yeah.
Let's get started. Proceed as planned.
Oh shit, marker?
Yeah, right. That's what that texture was.
She loves hanging out in the engine room.
To be honest, he's not really crying. He's just sulking.
I mean, that's what he does all the time.
Anyone who can't retreat into the dogma should surrender.
You know what kind of gun that is?
Care of things for me.
I mean, I couldn't see it. Probably the fucking Metal Gear Solid gun, though. How can you be pulling off the school shooter energy, but also be afraid during a school shooting?
Nah, you speak too mean of Shinji. He would never shoot up the school.
How humanity could have been. But sadly, none of them, nor us, could coexist with one another. While we're all humans, only one of us could thrive.
Okay, but why?
I need you to eradicate the Ava series. It's the only way we'll survive.
They're driving in like a nightmare zone.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I know that this is the mass-produced Ava. But where did they come from?
I believe Sele had these in like storage or backup.
Okay.
And they used
hold on. The reason I bring it up is because I don't recall them being mentioned. I must have not paid attention.
They're never mentioned. Only like now.
Not even the concept of mass-produced?
I believe maybe like once, but it wasn't very impertinent.
Is that where all the fucking fan art comes from? This one scene?
That's how grown-ups kiss. We'll do the rest when you get back, alright?
What the fuck?
I didn't think they'd keep that in this dub, but yeah. That's definitely not age well.
I mean, she's gonna die. She's like, I don't have to keep that promise.
So overall, how do you think you would rate Ava?
I don't have to put it into numbers.
No. You don't have to put numbers.
Well,
like, just put it in.
we're getting close to the end already, right?
This is the end.
So far, Ava seems to be this thing that is honestly, in my opinion, so far, and though as what you've said earlier about how because so many people have talked about it, this seems, I don't want to say pretentious. This is not pretentious, but society has really overhyped to me what this show had become. It could be possible that over time the show became ruined due to osmosis of what people talk to me about it.
Yeah.
But it is good. I think you should watch it. It's cool. Lots of cool ideas to think about.
That is why you must
But it is not like,
through your own efforts.
I think what you said,
Use your own
I think honestly it is a little silly to say, but
even if you're taken by
the,
others.
what did we call it when we were watching Japanese commercials?
Yeah.
The merchandising? Not the merchandising.
The commercialization.
Yes, the commercialization of Ava may have ruined my...
like exposure to it.
Yes. Like brushing your teeth and then eating something.
Oh, that's kind of a good like.
In their own image.
That's a good
It's
analogy.
One can
Yeah.
Something about that. Yeah, like once you.
I've become desensitized to it could have never had the same impact.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
And though I still have a positive impact about Ava, this is not gonna be as like I'm not gonna get that childhood lock on nostalgia of
Yeah.
it anymore.
You can turn
But it is definitely like
Like, do you think it holds up?
you are
it's
alive.
cool. It holds up. But like
Opportunities for happiness
it is not the
everywhere.
The
it doesn't
end all of all art.
it doesn't deserve to be Japan's golden child
Yeah.
as much as it is.
Yeah, it is really quite up there, isn't it?
And I tell you this
As long as there is the
as
sun, the moon, and
an up and coming Gundam fan
Yeah.
who I'm just like, wow, Gundam's really fucking cool. And like I love Godzilla. I watched the old Godzilla and I was like, wow, that's fucking cool. It's all to someone's taste though. Like I'm pretty sure you like this. You might say that this holds up better than I do because you're pretty you like a lot of avant-garde stuff.
Right.
But even though this is quite like
will you be okay?
as much as also like what I love David Lynch and I love
Happiness lies.
a lot of stuff that he's done,
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks,
And keep thinking about
but
being
it's hard to maybe I'm not as
I'm sure I'll just realize
I'm not as art pilled as you to be because we talked about it. Hold on, let me readjust myself.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier where it was just kind of like,
but mother,
oh, should David Lynch
what will happen to you?
It's hard. It's,
should I still be like, oh, David Lynch is
Man built an Ava.
no you need to convey your message to the audience.
yeah, and that involves doing work, and that can be a turnoff for some people.
And Ava can go on.
That's
to
why
like-
That's why I think a lot of stuff that I like gets turned down by a lot of people because, and it's not a way of saying they're lazy,
Earth, sun,
but
moon are gone.
it is a bit of a form of escapism when you watch anime, read books, or TV shows. You
Like
know?
here, what did we say earlier about
But you would still be alive.
like
Proof that humanity lived.
what if you do have an actual statement to say?
Yeah. What if you do have a point?
You have
And
a
people don't get
solid
it.
you have a solid rigid statement that you want to say,
Yes.
you know?
Uh huh.
And you said you would keep it to yourself,
Yeah.
you know?
All right.
But I think at the end of the day, I'm not upset, but I think a lot of people would get upset. I've never heard any hate for Ava. Okay? I've never heard any hate
Like the
for-
worst, which people say it's overrated, which is not the same as hating it, but
Oh,
that
no.
is the nearest
being
thing.
overrated isn't even necessarily a negative thing.
Right.
But I bring it up because I feel like if there is any hate for Ava, it's because people don't like non-straight answers.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like non-straight answers. They want to know what the fuck all this was.
Yeah.
They don't want to feel like they've wasted all their time watching Ava and not understanding it. I don't know what the fuck this was. I mean, like, what did I say earlier? I said that this was the cacophony of puberty. And
Right.
that's probably what this might have been. Like, but that's because I have a bias because I think that that's what a lot of Japanese media is. Because a lot of Japanese anime and media, what's the word? They want to make it for young boys.
Mm-hmm.
And for people growing up in the difficulties that is the capitalist society that is Japan,
Right.
you know, in a place where people expect so much from you, that I can't see it any other way. I don't know what if I'm wrong. I don't know what any of this stuff was, you know.
Yeah. You're trying
And if
to.
I asked, and if I knew Japanese and I asked Ano himself, he'd probably just be like,
I just did because it was cool.
kind of like how David Lynch was, right?
Right.
He's just like, if that's what you felt, that's what it was about.
And it can feel like a cop out.
It could feel like a cop out, like I said earlier. A lot of people don't like that. They want to hear a solid statement. I mean, what do you think Ava was about?
I think Ava is about a lot of different things, and I think it changes every time I rewatched it. When I was younger, it represented just this epic take on the mecha genre and this poor child having to muscle his way through all of it. And as I get older, it starts being less about the mecha and the angels and more about the characters and how they kind of relate to each other. And you start to see the shades of all these characters in real life people that you know. And you start to realize, man, like, some of these people never had a chance in any of this, you know?
Disgusting.
I think it just kind of changes over time. And that's what kind of makes some art more interesting than others.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like though your statement seems to give it a little more like loose. It gives it a more wiggle room. Your statement. I don't want to be like, oh, my statement is like the better statement. But like, again, I guess that might be the point of Ava, right? For you to like choose your stance on it. Right. But at the end of the day, I don't know what's a good shot here. I think at the end of the day, right, like that might just be the whole point. Was he might have done exactly as you said, where he was just like, you know what? I have an idea on what this is about, and let's pretend that it's what I said. Like, oh, it was totally about puberty. Okay, but I'm not gonna tell anybody that. You know, I'm just gonna see what people say this all is, and I guess there's like nothing wrong with it, but like you can probably hear hesitation in my voice because it's like, no, there's still like the fight in my head
that you want a solid answer.
It's like, not that. Yeah, I guess so, right? Like at the end of the day,
just or a like, solid enough answer.
I want something solid. I wouldn't. Though I feel like even what I'm saying is very laser focused, but I do also want to add on top of what you said, like, yeah, there's a lot of things, but I feel like a lot of those things happen around puberty.
Yeah, and a lot of that isn't as interesting to you anymore because you're an adult at this point.
Well, at the same time, I mean, it's still interesting. It can put a lot of the things that happened to you as a kid into context. But like, what did you say earlier about the people?
How you see shades of them in real life people that you know. Shades of Oscar.
I think you said earlier about how you think that Ava. Okay, if I ask you again, what do you think Ava's about?
I believe Ava's about different things. It just depends on when you saw it, how you see it. Like me, I saw it in the very beginning of high school.
You said it was like a epic take.
Yeah, it was an epic show because this was actually the first anime I ever saw that wasn't from Toonami. Because Toonami was my first exposure to anime.
What do you think? Okay, but what do you think it is about now?
Now it's about this legacy. It's hard to contextualize it after everything we've been talking about and seeing. But I think Ava is really about this child that's trying to connect with the world that is just so difficult. But I don't know if it's difficult because of him or because the world is just like that, you know? Like, if there were no angels, if there were no Avas, would Shinji still be like this? Would any of the characters be like this? But it's funny because there are people like that in real life. And that's what kind of makes it
I think maybe
strange.
I think maybe
but I think I'm also starting to like get myself tied up.
I'll throw everything at the fucking wall right now, right? Like, the children are the children. I don't think there's anything super hidden here.
Yeah.
Shinji is a boy who is a boy, and I'm just like gonna. He's a boy who, like I said earlier, is this kid who is still a kid, yet everyone around him expects him to grow up now, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the people around him, I think you said it, that they haven't grown up.
Yeah, they all have their own issues.
They haven't grown
sort
up.
out.
They haven't grown up at all.
Right.
They have their own issues, but they're just fucking hoping that the next generation is gonna be better than them. But they're fucking up the next generation by expecting so much out of them. And the two Ava, fucking Asuka and
Pilots.
Yeah, the two pilots. I want to focus on the two real pilots, Asuka and Shinji. They're both in the same boat. They
have parental like abandonment issues.
They have parental abandonment issues.
Issues
because
connecting with other people.
If we take out all the mechs, Gendo like ignored the shit out of his son because he couldn't move on that his wife died.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like, oh, secretly what really happened is that I'm saying like imagine it.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if this is just a real world. Gendo's wife died of a disease or some shit. He couldn't let go of that shit, and it affected his son because he ignored the shit out of his son.
Yeah.
Asuka's mom killed herself for hypothetically in the real world with no Avas, for whatever fucking reason, and that fucked Asuka up.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, people are also expecting so much
out of these two,
out of both of them. But I don't know. I can't pin down Rey though.
Yeah, Rey is kind of an interesting.
Because what do we say? What is Rey in like a hypothetical context without the mechs? Like I personally, like I said, I think it's just about puberty and whatever. But you don't have anything deeper than what you said?
Not exactly. I think most of what's been said has already been explained further, and but I do think what is a little interesting is now when you compare it to the movies that came out, because those recontextualize a few things here and there.
Am I wrong? The movies are like the series compressed.
You are wrong halfway, because the first two movies, the first movie is compressed.
It's the season compressed. The show.
No, it's the first few episodes of the show compressed. The second movie.
Wait.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You're saying it's the first episodes?
No, the first like 8 episodes in one movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not the whole series. It's just the first few episodes, and then the second movie is the next batch of episodes. But they start changing a few details here and there that don't make a huge difference until you watch the third movie. By the third movie, it's something completely different.
So you're saying that we could watch the original series and End of Ava, or the 3 movies, but for different experiences.
Yes, but I would recommend watching the series first before watching the movies, because you kind of miss out on a lot of things.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
that sounds about right.
But at the same time, I feel like some of the movies were made specifically with people like that in mind that weren't going to be able to watch the original Ava, because you got to remember, at least here in the US, you couldn't legally watch Evangelion for like 10 years. Before Netflix bought the rights, I don't even think there was any legal way to watch it that didn't involve having to go out of your way to buy a DVD set from eBay or get it imported from Japan.
Yeah, weren't they like $400 or something?
They are very expensive. Like, if you own an Ava DVD from before 2005 or some shit like that,
you probably dumped a lot of money on that.
It's probably not gonna make you like an overnight millionaire or anything, but it's worth a good amount of money.
But that's also not in English, right?
No, some of them are in English. That's
because I want to say like the original Toonami dub doesn't exist anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know, because I believe they wanted to release. I read that they want to release Ava on DVD or Blu-ray, But I don't know what dubs are gonna be on it. If it's gonna have the Netflix dub or the OG dub or both. That'd be cool if it had both. But I wouldn't count on it because they're usually very like these companies are very like any previous dubs that were made. No, we got to get rid of all evidence of it. It doesn't exist as far as we know. We only want the new dub only. It doesn't matter if 99% of the fans prefer the old dub. Old dub means nothing to us. We disown it in every way. That's how I feel they react to it.
That's how they did that shit.
Yeah. But
Well, I guess that
Yeah.
means I'll never get to hear the original dub, I guess.
well, no, we've been watching it
No, the original English dub
for End of
for
Ava.
the show, the actual show.
No, the show that we've been watching it this whole time. The English dub is the original dub. We were never watching the Netflix dub.
The series,
Yeah,
not the movie.
yeah, the series.
We watched it in English.
Oh, my bad. I don't know what's going on. That's me. No, I have that dub.
You have the actual
The original.
Toonami dub. We're gonna call it the Toonami dub.
Fine, just for it's actually the ADV dub, but we'll call it the Toonami dub.
Oh, okay. If it has a name,
Yeah.
then sure. AGV.
ADV.
ADV.
The ADV dub, I have it.
Okay.
I have it.
You
Our other friend has it. Like it's not hard to get. If,
Well, okay, but does it matter?
I want to say yes, it does because the new dub does a lot of things so differently that I can't like enjoy it as well. So
Really?
what is that music?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. I was just making sure I'm not losing my head. So one thing that happened was that Gynax or I don't really know who was exactly in charge of it, but they like the Japanese took a much bigger approach, a more strict approach to dubbing, where they're gonna supervise all the scripts and then they give their approval. Whereas before it was kind of like, here, as long as it matches, we'll go ahead and give it the approval, right?
Really? Okay.
So what happens is that a lot of the dubbing, a lot of the dialogue was written to be like verbally similar to the Japanese dub, the
Yeah.
Japanese language. So a lot of the dialogue sounds kind of off. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't sound wrong, but
it's not
like
lip synced or something.
no, it's not that. It's like people like don't talk like this in real life. Like there's a certain cadence to the way people speak where you can tell that like you're speaking like somebody is reading it off like a prompter, or you're not really used to speaking English.
Oh man, I don't know where or what media I'm thinking of, but I've heard of it happen a few times where they will tell the voice actor, "I want you to read what's a good thing? I want you to read blah 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 the I want you to read End of Evangelion. I want you to read the words, okay? But I need you to read just the words, not the whole thing." What? Yeah, read it like this. The end.
Yeah, like the directors give their
But they
input.
they might give them like, "Here, read half this sentence." Okay. End of. Okay, now read Evangelion. Evangelion?
And then we'll just splice it up together.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Maybe a bit bigger, like read this paragraph.
No, what I just mean exactly is, for example, there's two things, and when you're doing dubs, there's two different ways to look at it. You can translate or you can localize it. Translate means exactly what it means. You take the words that they're saying,
Yeah.
and you find an English like approximate,
Yes.
because there's not always going to
Like,
be
like
like
I think the
equivalent.
best example that I hope anybody would know is like the Pokemon movie. The first one?
Yeah, Pokemon.
That one was heavily localized. That was not translated.
Yeah, that's the
Exactly.
other thing. I'll just say there's translation and then there's localization. And localization is when you take the words that they say and you make alterations so that it suits the culture that you're translating.
Yeah, I mean,
it
but
to.
that's why I brought up Pokemon, because they say, instead of saying rice balls, they say jelly donuts.
Yeah, and that's like the bad side of localization. That's localization in like a very bad light, and I personally don't think that should have ever happened, because now we're at an age where people know what rice balls are. You know,
Have you
we
ever?
don't need to know.
Have you ever analyzed the localization of the first Pokemon movie?
No, I haven't.
About how the entire soundtrack is like 2000s music,
Oh yeah, they changed some of the music
And-
because
and the references to like the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I remember that.
All kinds of little things like that. And
I thought that was just meant as like a gag, like it's just a throwaway line just to be like, he
oh, I
he
mean
made it
that
funny.
one, of course.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the music probably was like one of the most important things to have it hit hard here in the United States.
Yeah, it makes it way more like nostalgic and hit
But I
hard.
don't think Ava necessarily needed.
Like a soundtrack revamp.
Well, I meant like I don't think Ava necessarily needed heavy localization.
Just in some of the dialogue, because like some of the phrases in Japan, they don't really make a whole lot of sense.
Do you have an example?
I don't have any at the moment that I can like really really think of, but I
Getting a
know
sore throat, sorry.
I am trying to remember. One of the big controversies is that there is a scene in, it's actually the scene where Kwaru comes out when they're in like the baths,
Yeah.
and then Kwaru gets up and he looks at Shinji and he says, "I love you."
Yeah.
He doesn't say that in the new dub, in the Netflix dub.
Netflix's retranslation of Neon Genesis Evangelion is drawing backlash for queer erasure.
Yeah, it's the fact that they replaced the word love. Cause love is pretty blunt, very forward, right? You're worthy of my grace, and he says, "I like you." That's the change.
Yeah, that is kind of strange for how heavy the anime is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I think
It's very like
the anime
tiptoey.
the anime itself is so blunt. Where is that? There we go. The anime itself is so blunt that I can't picture it saying just "I like you."
Yeah.
That is weird. I thought there was a way I could like full screen this.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could just do it like this.
No, I don't, and I can't think of any big scenes. But this one in particular,
There we go.
upset. Yeah.
I'm showing it on the.
Oh, okay. This scene
screen.
upset a lot of people, and I understand why. Like, from an outsider's perspective, I can understand people would say, "Oh, it doesn't mean anything," or "Oh, it's just people complaining about nothing." But as a fan and as somebody who really enjoys that episode, I can understand why it would be upsetting.
You know, for some reason, they never, even though they said that, something about them doesn't come off as gay to me.
It could be. Like, my interpretation is that Karu is learning how to be human because he's trying to pose as one for this whole mission, right? But he really likes Shinji, but he doesn't really understand like how humans kind of interact. That's why it never bothered me that his dub sounds kind of bad, because it's like he's an angel. He's learning how to speak like a human. Of course, he's not going to sound perfect, or he's not even going to sound good.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know.
yeah, but no, that's what I mean by the dubs. Can be a little controversial. The new one, Netflix dub.
So there's like three. Okay, final thing
Mm-hmm.
is like, what's your take? You think that Ava's like good? There's 4 of them. Just pass, good, great, or like amazing. Out of those 4 things, you can pick one of those words.
Okay, so
I said pass, good, great, or amazing.
I think if I only have those 4 options, I would put it under great. I wouldn't say it is the amazing thing, because I do think in time some of that luster has kind of fallen off.
Because I want to also ask, I think it's great also, But like, do you think a lot of things are copying Ava?
I think a lot of things tried to copy Ava and failed.
Oh yeah, there's Darling in the Franxx. So I'm barely remembering that.
And that's even like that happened way after Ava. I'm talking about like animes that came out like immediately or that came like afterwards, you know?
Because I feel like I'm assuming that everything was trying to copy Gundam. Remember, we've seen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot of stuff that was trying to copy Gundam, or they were just bouncing off each other. Because what do we got? We got Gundam. We got what's the name of the Macross?
Macross.
We've got Dalos or whatever it's called.
Dalos. We've seen a few Gundam animes.
Yeah, the Gundam animes, they're kind of like bouncing off each other. I felt like Gundam itself stayed pretty original compared to the others.
Generally, yeah. I mean, the concept is so easy to do, but it is.
Oh,
you can do it in
and fucking Diebuster.
Oh, Diebuster and Gumbuster and all those too.
But Diebuster came first before Gundam, no?
No, Gundam is old. Gundam's from the 70s.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember how old.
And then the first one is Gunbuster. Diebuster came later.
Oh yeah, Diebuster, not Gunbuster, not
Diebuster.
Yeah.
Did you see Diebuster?
Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah, we saw both of them. Good.
Mobile Suit Gundam. Yeah, 1979, like you said.
Yeah, just.
Oh, yeah. No,
just
still
towards
10 years, right? Because 88 and then 79.
9 years, yeah. So just generally like 10 years before. And Gundam is not even the first.
It's a shonen.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, Mecha didn't exist, I assume, right?
No, Mecha already existed by the time Gundam came out. The only thing is that Gundam took it to a more like realistic angle. It was kind of like what Ava did before Ava. And I like how
the first Titan robots were seen in 1948.
Yeah.
Atomic Power Android. What is that? Possibly the very first mecha.
Yeah, it looks like even they're not sure because it gets harder to document these things the more you go back in time. Yeah, and originally all these giant robots piloted themselves. It wasn't until later that they realized, hey, what if the humans
What if they got
piloted
in
it?
the robot?
Well, that's all we can really say about Ava. So, I think it's about time we head out. We'll see y'all next time in one of our other videos. Later.